Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 10 of the Occasional Bugle podcast. I am Andrew.
And I'm Jonathan.
Wow, that was...
Was that loud?
No. Aggressive is what it was.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my bones hurt.
I feel that.
Probably have arthritis. Anyway. Let's get right into this news because we got some interesting stuff to talk about. So first up, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki are all set to resume filming in July.
So excited.
Very, very happy to hear this. I'm excited for all of these. I think probably most excited for WandaVision, if I had to pick.
See, I'm excited for it, but I want Cap and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier more.
Yeah, which, speaking of that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier may receive a new title for Season 2.
Yes, we briefly talked about this
Yes.
with each other. I think it was stupid for them to go with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier anyway, but I guess it kind of makes sense because he's transitioning into Captain America.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that's just a lot of money wasted because you have to market all the stuff that says the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then you got to rebrand.
I mean, I think people get it at this point, but I don't know. I think the name is fine. I hope they don't get rid of the Winter Soldier name because I think it's better than just calling him Bucky, and I don't like the White Wolf name.
I feel like maybe they'll just call him Bucky.
I don't know. I'd rather he just be the Winter Soldier and kind of go off and do his own things. But anyway, also in Disney Plus news, Evan Peters has maybe been cast in WandaVision.
I feel like that's cool because it leads to the whole multiverse of madness arc for WandaVision leading into Doctor Strange. But I think that's kind of like it sucks for Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I remember hearing rumors that they might bring him back though.
Well, he was going to be brought back in Endgame.
Was he?
Yeah. When Hawkeye goes back in time and brings back his kid's glove.
Uh-huh.
There was an alternate scene where he goes to Age of Ultron and brings Quicksilver with him.
Well, that would have been helpful.
I agree.
But I guess that's kind of a game-breaking element.
Yeah.
Like bringing someone back to life, quote unquote.
I mean, no one stays dead in these things.
I mean, they should.
I feel like in the movies they are gonna stay dead.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like them playing with mortality like this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if it's Evan Peters, like it's a little bit better because it's a different version of the.
But it's not confirmed that he's going to be Quicksilver.
That he's what?
That they didn't say Evan Peters is going to be Quicksilver. He could just be playing a different character. Which is how I took it.
Cool.
Like I didn't immediately assume he was going to be his version of Quicksilver.
See, that's how I saw it.
And honestly, like from what I saw, I almost prefer the Aaron Taylor Johnson version, but like we just didn't get enough of him.
Yeah.
Like he's a lot closer to the comics than Evan Peters. But what are you gonna do? This is something we talked about a couple episodes back, but Daredevil will be back at Marvel, like he wasn't already, but he will be back under Disney's production in November.
So happy. I hope they stay with Charlie Cox.
Yeah, he's like he he's exceptional as Daredevil. There's no need to recast him, even if you do reboot the series, which I think is a little unnecessary. But like, oh, hello Siri. Um, you don't need to recast anyone. Like you don't like even the supporting cast, like Kingpin, Karen, Foggy. Like they know everybody there is great at what they're doing.
If they recast Vincent D'Onofrio, I will be so upset.
He grew on me a lot. I wasn't crazy about him in the first season of Daredevil, but like by season 3, he'd really like I felt grown into what that character should be, which I appreciate.
It was, I think he just did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, earlier today. I was just rewatching that ending scene. Or have you seen Daredevil season 3?
Yeah, I'm all caught up on Marvel Netflix.
Okay, because like that ending scene where it's just him and Kingpin beating the shit out of each other.
Amazing. I
It's
think that's one of the best episodes of Daredevil.
It's fantastic. And like it's what's that storyline where he like makes a deal with the Kingpin? Is it Born Again?
I couldn't tell you.
I can't remember. I'm not caught up on my Daredevil, but yeah, it's just really fantastic end to that season. And it is something I really would like to see continued.
Yeah, me too. I would love to. Honestly, I'd love to see all of them continued.
Yeah, of course.
I think with Iron, like I know people are gonna be like, I don't want Iron Fist, but if they get better writers,
Yeah, and better fight choreographers.
yeah, like then I think it'll be so much better.
Yeah. Um, I think you don't need to give Iron Fist and Luke Cage their own separate shows. You can just do a Heroes for Hire show.
I agree with you, but the only thing that I disagree with is that I think they both need one more season on their own to resolve, because they both left on like interesting cliffhangers, like partial cliffhangers. Like Iron Fist is like traveling the world, so I think it would be weird if he was just like a hero for hire. And then Luke Cage is like a crime boss.
Yeah, this is assuming they're not rebooting, I guess.
Yes, if they're not rebooting and they're continuing, then I think they both should get one more season and then go into Heroes for Hire. And then if they are going to reboot but just keep the same cast, then yeah, I think they could just do Heroes for Hire.
Which I think like of the two, Luke Cage, like in these two iterations of the character, Luke Cage is definitely the stronger of the two.
Yeah.
So like Luke Cage can kind of pass without Iron Fist, but Iron Fist kind of needs someone to bounce off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like especially this version where he's all like on his high horse and shit. Like you
Well, he
kind
got pretty humble in season 2, I think. In my
of
opinion.
that was one thing I really liked about the Defenders. Everyone's just calling Iron Fist out on his bullshit. It's really great. The Stick calls him a thundering dumbass. It's really great.
He was just super naive.
Yeah, and I mean, like obviously that guy's a good actor. So there's more to be done with both of those characters. Obviously, I just hope they kind of take the time to revamp them and give them some good writing.
Yeah, I agree. Jessica Jones is phenomenal.
Yes.
I still think season 1 was the best season.
Yeah, I think I didn't watch. How many seasons does she have?
3.
I
Daredevil was the only ones that got 3.
I only watched season 1 of Jessica Jones, but I think it might not be my personal favorite, but it's one of the best.
Yeah.
Like it definitely has the best villain.
Yeah. Season 2 is alright. I think season 2 out of the 3 is the worst, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Punisher, or not Punisher, Daredevil. I think season 2 is kind of weak, except for the Punisher stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about the hand.
Yeah.
I never really did.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that bothered me about the Punisher series is like like at the end of the Daredevil at the end of Daredevil season 2, you see he's like fully formed as the Punisher. Like he gets the vest and shit. And then at the beginning of the first season of Punisher, he's burning everything. And he's like, I'm done being the Punisher.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking, do you want to show any of us? Like,
Yeah, I
what you
know.
did in the meantime? He's like, I stopped all the crime. So, I don't know. And I know like the end of season 2 is like he's kind of back on it.
Yeah.
Like he's even more Punisher now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the end was insane.
Yeah. I'm kind of sick of the trench coat look.
Yeah, I
Do
remember
something
some of
different. Um,
that. I'm fine with just the vest.
and I think introducing him into like this more comic booky universe could be a way to get a more interesting look for him.
Oh, I agree. Did I send you the fan art?
Maybe you might have.
Oh, there was some just really nice fan art, and it was like an MCU suit.
Yeah.
It was really cool. But I mean, technically, the Punisher's in the MCU. He drove the Pence trucks that ran over
Yes.
Sitwell and cop cars.
Yes, I enjoyed that. I like that. They kind of confirmed that.
But if you look at it continuity wise, it doesn't make sense
Yeah.
because he wasn't established as the Punisher until like 2017.
Yeah, I mean the continuity is a little all over the place. Like it's
Yeah,
certainly better than X-Men, but
true. Which, my theory, going back to the whole Evan Peters thing, if he's coming over as Quicksilver, that could be their way of getting the X-Men in. They could just take all the actors from that universe and bring them over.
yeah, it could.
Because they honestly didn't get a fair swing, and they all did a great job.
I wouldn't know. I haven't been able to sit through any of those movies.
Well, you've seen Apocalypse, right?
In bits and pieces, never like the whole way through.
Well, I mean, what's her face? Married to Joe Jonas.
Sophie Turner.
Yeah, she's a good actress.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Um,
Obviously, McAvoy and Fassbender are
oh my gosh, if they came back,
they kind of carry the whole thing.
I agree. Jennifer Lawrence is dead, so. Well, no,
Uh,
not the actress, Mystique.
oh my god, Jennifer Lawrence. What was I gonna say? I hate that they ditched the one time they gave them interesting costumes.
Yes.
At the end of Apocalypse, they all have their like full on '90s X-Men costumes.
My biggest complaint
Like
of X-Men is that. That is my biggest pet peeve.
Cyclops had like the full on Jim Lee look. Nightcrawlers was like straight out of the comic. Storm had the mohawk. Like
So irritating.
that was sick. And then they just gave them like black suits again.
Pajamas, literal pajamas.
Oh yeah. They gave him the what was it,
The
the Joss
Astronomy.
Whedon? Yeah, the Joss Whedon suits.
Literal pajamas.
Which I don't know.
Garbage.
If you have the suits, just use them.
I don't know what happened in between that made those armored suits insufficient compared to literal sweatpants.
And I'm a big fan of the first class suits. Like
Those were nice.
the blue and yellow kind of flight suits. Those are cool.
I like those.
Yeah, it's just weird that the timeline's a mess.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you just bring them into the MCU, you can just kind of ignore all that.
Yeah.
So.
And if they never cast a Wolverine, that just leaves the option for Hugh Jackman to come back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know how much you can bank on Hugh Jackman.
I know, it's
Like
sad.
he's getting on. He'll be just fine. Tom Hardy though. Tom Hardy would be an exceptional Wolverine. And he's the right height.
But he's Venom. That's the only issue.
I don't care. Let him play both.
The twin match.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, J.K. Simmons has confirmed that he will be back for multiple Spider-Man sequels.
Woohoo!
which is obviously the best news in the world. Um, the greatest casting in any comic book movie,
Oh, 100%.
in my opinion. Like nobody completely nails it the way he does.
Yeah.
Like you'll look at like a Chris Evans or a Henry Cavill, and you'll be like, yeah, they're doing a great job. Nobody comes close to J.K. Simmons. Like,
So true.
perfect.
Was it that he says multiple Spider-Man sequels? It shows that that maybe he's now going to be at Marvel for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Do you remember me telling you about like the rumor where there's going to be like 9 solo
Yeah.
movies?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I want. That's all I want.
Yeah. I mean, if they can like pace that well, yeah, like go for it.
I was talking to my friends about it, and my one friend's reaction was like, "Oh my goodness, like, that's so many." And I was like, "Well, hear me out."
Yeah, it's all about how you pace it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, if
And
you
like,
do like one every year, it's going to be too much, and that's why I think like it's good that he is in the MCU because they have to do other characters and other movies.
yeah,
Meanwhile, like we would have had like 4 Spider-Man movies in 6 years.
yeah. And obviously, make sure the stories you're telling are good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just keep John Watts, and he doesn't
Yeah.
get bored of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Or even like switch up the director for every 3. Like
Or that.
get a new set of eyes on it.
Yeah.
Like keep John Watts as like a consultant, obviously, because he kind of built this version of the character, but like,
He can even co-direct, like how the Russos co-direct.
yeah. I'd love to see like a Ryan Johnson Spider-Man trilogy.
As long as he doesn't ruin Spider-Man.
Well, he didn't ruin Star Wars. He made it
Yes,
better.
he did.
He made the
No,
best Star Wars movie.
he ruined Luke Skywalker.
No, he made him a more interesting character.
No. All right, agree to disagree.
Do you have any more news before I kind of segue?
So, talk about that. Talk about Daredevil. Did we talk about Daredevil?
Yes.
Okay. My last thing is that IGN kind of released this statement showing a list of DCEU movies, and
Yes.
they are as followed: Wonder Woman 1984, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
The Suicide Squad, shockingly, The Batman, Black Adam, Aquaman 2, The Flash, Green Lantern Corps, Batgirl, Shazam 2, The New Gods, and The Trench. Oh my gosh, I didn't see that The Trench made it. I didn't look at the list fully when I first saw it. The Trench is in it. The Trench is actually coming.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yes.
And also off of that, I heard from somewhere, I forget the source, but HBO is interested in giving like full movie budgets to DC adaptations for HBO Max,
They should.
like which is very cool. Like because you can have the movies for your big tentpole characters, and then on HBO Max you can kind of put the spotlight on some more minor characters like Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, something like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it's smart because then you can kind of keep up with Marvel, but like you can like you're already rebuilding because you
Yeah,
failed. Like that's just such a good way to like get back on track.
yeah. I mean, it is the Disney Plus model, but like it's fine. Like
You got to do something. I'd
yeah,
rather them do the same exact thing for
exactly,
characters,
absolutely.
but
Um,
then like do something different and fail again.
and finally, the Batman has officially been approved to continue filming in the UK.
Nice.
So happy about this.
Yeah, I want
I'm
it to come as soon as possible.
yeah, I'm hoping we get some new details soon, maybe some new set photos. I'd really like to see more of that suit.
That'd be dope.
I'd like to see Paul Dano as the Riddler. I'd like to see Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Wasn't
Um,
Jonah Hill playing the Riddler?
oh, what?
Was that just rumored?
Yeah, that was rumored, but he wanted like $10 million for it,
Oh, he
and
got
I'm
greedy.
and I'm sorry, but Jonah Hill is not a $10 million name. Like he's not Robert Downey Jr.
That's very fair.
Like I don't think Pattinson is getting that much.
Oh, then why would he get more? That makes no
I don't know.
sense.
Yeah, Paul Dano is the Riddler, and that's perfect casting.
I'm gonna look up what he looks like because I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, he plays like a sniveling idiot in every movie, which is kind of perfect.
Oh, I don't know who this is.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor, and he did an interview talking about it recently. He was like yeah, this script like surprised me, like with how good it was. So, and Paul Dano rarely steps wrong in Hollywood, so I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
I really want them to do Robin at some point.
I know.
Like let's end the Robin stigma. Let's get him back on a movie
Yeah, I know. Like
because he's a great character.
exactly. And if you do it right, you can use multiple.
Yeah, like you build your own stories with someone like that.
Exactly.
So anyway, news of the Batman brings us into our topic for this week. We are talking all things Batman. So the way I kind of planned this was we can kind of start off talking about villains because I think other than maybe Spider-Man, nobody has a rogues gallery better than Batman,
I agree with that.
or even like on par.
What about
Um,
Superman? No,
but
no.
Lex Luthor.
As I said it, I was like, he's got like Toy Man.
Yeah, like Metallo.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think like just in terms of purely like iconic villains,
What about
Batman.
the Flash?
No,
Fair.
they're not nearly as iconic. Like the only person that comes close is Spider-Man.
Okay. Fair.
Um, so let's kind of run through some of like the biggest names. Obviously, there's the Joker.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, me either.
I've heard of him.
I think they made a shit movie about him last year.
That was what that was about. That movie looks so stupid.
Yeah, if you ask me, it was just Taxi Driver again, but
I hope everyone knows that we're being sarcastic.
I'm not.
Oh, really? You didn't like Joker?
Not really.
Interesting.
I thought the movie, like, obviously the performance is great,
Mm-hmm.
but the movie is fine.
Okay.
There's nothing exceptional about the movie. Like I don't want to discredit the performance at all because it is the whole movie.
Right.
But
I can see it again.
yeah, I think it's on HBO now, so I might give it a watch soon if I care enough to. I just rewatched Shazam. Still holds up. Excellent movie.
Oh, I didn't watch it yet.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
I planned on like rewatching it with my mom. I was like, "Do you want to watch that thing?" She's like, "I've seen it already." I was like, "What?" When? She watched it on her own. And I was like, "Oh."
anyway, Batman villains. The Penguin, my boy, my king.
Underrated.
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, yeah. Like he's he's very well known, but like I don't know. I'm waiting. I think Colin Farrell hopefully delivers, but I want more of like the animated series Penguin, where he's like a gross, greasy crime boss who's kind of pretends to be high society.
Right.
I'd love to see the Iceberg Lounge in live action.
That'd be really cool.
Um, I hope he has his shark like he does in the Arkham games.
I've never played.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go to the Iceberg Lounge, like it's completely frozen over, and he just has a shark swimming under the ice that kind of jumps out and scares you every once in a while. It's real good.
Yeah, that's a good way to intimidate people.
Yeah, gets the job done for sure.
Definitely.
Um, One of my personal favorites, Mr. Freeze.
Mm,
I
very
think
underrated as well.
I
Very
think
sad.
Heart
But
of Ice, the episode of the animated series. I mean, it won an Emmy.
is it
Should
really?
it did? It's just such an exceptional piece of Batman lore. Like because before the animated series, Mister Freeze was just like a guy with a freeze gun in a spacesuit. Like he had no character. And then they made Heart of Ice, and that became the definitive version of Mister Freeze.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I just think the way he's written in that show is so like it's so mature, especially like even for its time. And I don't know. I could talk about Heart of Ice for hours. um, Another exceptional animated series episode is Two Face Part One and Two. Um,
Is it because he has two faces?
Yeah, Two Face is another one of my personal favorites. Very well done in the animated series, very well done in The Dark Knight. Just maybe a little underutilized as a character, but I think like performance wise, Aaron Eckhart did a great job. And we don't talk about the Tommy Lee Jones one.
I like caught that movie once at the tail end, and I was like, I've never seen Tommy Lee Jones more goofy in my life.
They just wanted to do Jack Nicholson Joker again.
Yeah.
They had to settle for Tommy Lee Jones Two Face.
Yeah, then he just became goofy, which was weird.
Yeah, and like that whole design is so bad.
Yeah.
Like it's split straight down the middle. Like it looks like it's painted on.
Probably was.
I don't know, like no, really. um, yeah, I don't know. That 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 look for Two Face never really sat right with me. Um, of course, another character in that movie, and when we were just talking about the Riddler, um, goes a lot of very different versions of him. Like
Yeah.
the 66 version was kind of like he was one of the darker characters on that show. Like he was kind of the Joker of that show.
For which show?
The 60s Adam West.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like he was one of the darker characters, but he was kind of that crazy like over the top manic Riddler, which I'm not crazy about that version. Again, my favorite version is the animated series where he's just kind of like very collected and like calm. Um, I know a lot of people like the Arkham version. I find him so annoying because he's just asking you to find his trophies every 10 minutes.
Mm.
But I don't know.
You know which design was interesting?
Hmm.
You ever seen the Batman?
Yes, yeah, he looks like Marilyn Manson in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just like I liked that cartoon growing up, and then I saw it and I was like, that's what he looked like. I completely forgot. That looks terrible.
it kind of grew on me as I got older.
Yeah, I agree. Like it grew on me, but like going back and watching it for like the first time in a while, I was
Yeah,
like, oh gosh, that's not normal for
I'd
the
love to.
Riddler.
I might give that show a rewatch once I'm done with the animated series.
I tried, I just couldn't get through it.
I really like that version of Bruce Wayne.
Oh, so did I. Yeah, love
Yeah,
it.
but anyway,
That I feel that entire show is underrated.
yeah, definitely. Let's talk about comics. What are some like comics you think like? What are the top comics you think of when you think Batman?
Uh, Court of Owls.
Yeah, I have that written here. In terms of like a modern Batman story, That's a really strong one. It's kind of interesting to see Batman like on the back foot for once, because
Hmm.
there's this whole secret society that he just does not know about,
Yeah.
and like the way they kind of bring Dick Grayson into that is really interesting.
See, I don't know the actual story because I've only seen like the Batman versus Robin
Right.
version of it.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who don't know, the Court of Owls is a story where basically there's this secret society that's been in Gotham for like hundreds of years, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
and
literally.
they're like the Illuminati of Gotham. Like they control everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, it's like a weird one percenter cult. Um,
Yeah. Like, what was it? I know the premise of it, like you were saying, but like I don't know the whole thing with like Dick Grayson.
so I think Dick Grayson, like one of Dick Grayson's ancestors, was or like his family had ties to the Court of Owls, and so it was kind of implied that like it was his destiny to become a Talon, which are like the soldiers of the court.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting seeing the way he reacts to something like that his family had ties to this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I like that a lot.
Um, Obviously, there's The Dark Knight Returns.
That's what I was gonna say as
Just,
well.
I mean, it's just really exceptional, and one of the better comic to movie adaptations. But yeah, the way we get to see like an older Batman, and the way he kind of has to deal with new villains, like he has to deal with like the mutant leader, someone he's not really prepared for. But like it's interesting to see the way he kind of rallies and takes care of it in his way.
Yeah.
Um, Peter Weller is a great Batman voice in that animated movie, like really solid.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Um, it's a really cool examination of his relationship with the Joker. Like
Hmm.
there's that bit in the like the tunnel of love.
That whole intro, not intro, that whole scene was
It's really great.
crazy.
Yeah. It's like the Joker's like even worse than he used to be. Like he's just like this the Joker wasn't this is kind of a new introduction to Batman
Mhm.
because I think this is what 86 it came out.
Was it really?
It was
Isn't it still going?
well there was a sequel, The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is considered one of the worst Batman stories.
Oh,
And there is Dark Knight 3 The Master Race.
who writes that again?
That is Frank Miller is involved. Frank Miller wrote the first two, like and illustrated all by himself. I think Jim Lee did the art for the new one.
Yeah, because he's old now, Frank Miller.
Yeah, and he's crazy,
What was it?
which I would like to talk about a little bit later when we get to the weird Batman stuff segment.
What was it? Because I heard was in a comic shop once, and then there were two guys were talking about it, and like, yeah, like Frank Miller's apparently not doing too well, and they're trying to get like his ideas out while he still can. I was like,
Yeah, he's someone who wrote two of the most acclaimed Batman stories in The Dark Knight Returns and Year One, and he also wrote The Dark Knight Strikes Again and another Batman story, which I'll get into a little bit later. It's got an interesting quote. Um, I kind of talked about the Killing Joke last week. Um, it's a great story. It's less of a Batman story than it is a Joker story, I guess. But
right.
it's still another interesting like look into their relationship. Um,
One I like, Under the Red Hood.
Yes. Another one I think works better as a movie than it does as a comic. Like I still do really like that comic, but it's the comic feels a little bloated because they try to shoehorn in Mr. Freeze, who's in it very briefly. There's another like minor superhero character. Um, Superman and Green Arrow show up, and yeah, like to talk about like what happened to Jason. So like for those who don't know, the basic story of the Red Hood is in the '90s, the second Robin, Jason Todd, was killed by the Joker, and then in the I want to say like the early to mid 2000s, they wrote Under the Hood, which was a comic that basically brought Jason back as the Red Hood, like and he's kind of like the Punisher a little bit, which I guess is the closest comparison I can make. But or the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because those stories are very similar, the Winter Soldier and Red Hood.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Um, but yeah, it's like because Jason Todd was a character who was not well liked by audiences as Robin in the '90s.
Yeah, they literally there was a vote whether
Yes.
to kill him or keep him alive, and people voted to kill him. And
Yeah.
they were shocked when it happened. And it was like, you voted for it.
Yeah, like famously, like the whole basis of Death of the Family was like you would call in to like a DC Comics like extension or whatever, and you would vote as to whether or not you wanted Jason Todd to die.
I feel like it was just a bunch of people like, yeah, let's vote to kill him. Like, oh, it'd be so funny if it happened. Then it happened, like, oh, what did we do?
Yeah, and then they brought him back in a really interesting way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's like in the comic. It's really weird because like he wasn't brought back by the Lazarus Pit. It was Superboy Prime was like punched reality or
Retcon
something,
punch.
which is a little ridiculous. So I think
I like the newer version.
Yeah, the Lazarus Pit works a lot better.
That was only recent.
Yeah, that was like original from the movie. The movie made that.
Oh, I thought, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Which it works a lot better than Superboy Prime punching reality.
100%.
I don't even know the context behind this.
It was something with Crisis.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And he was just like, punch, and then reality broke.
So yeah, we can. Do you want to talk about movies?
We can, yeah. I feel like we definitely can.
We could start with like the '60s Adam West movie and series.
Don't know a thing about them.
They're really fun. Like obviously they're
like an episode.
They're very campy and ridiculous, but like they're of the time and they're still really fun to watch. Obviously, like people still know Adam West is Batman today for a reason.
Was rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Good man, mayor of Family Guy.
Mayor of Quahog.
Quahog, I couldn't remember it.
Yeah, they're just really fun. Like for a lighter version of Batman, and those kind of inspired like that whole '70s run on Batman, where he was a little campier, a little lighter, before the '80s and '90s took over and beat it into submission. The Burton movies. What are your thoughts on the Burton movies?
Okay, so one is with Jack Nicholson, right?
Yes.
There's another one with Danny DeVito.
Yes.
I've seen both of them, and I enjoyed both of them.
I'm okay with them. I like Batman '89 more than Batman Returns. I think Batman '89 is Jack Nicholson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think like the whole idea was like, oh, we should make Batman darker and grittier. But like when you watch those movies, they're they're as campy as the '60s in just a different way.
I agree with that.
Like they're very like goofy.
Yeah.
But Jack Nicholson as Joker, I think, is still really great. Like I think he does a really good job portraying a more comic booky Joker.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Um, Batman Returns, I do not like. It's just, it's not even a Batman movie. It's just like a weird, like, biopic about like this weird sewer dweller who tries to become the mayor.
See, though, whenever I think Penguin, though, I'm like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I don't know. I just think like that version of the penguin is really weird and gross.
Oh, I agree.
And like at the end, like when he dies, he like spits up black blood or some shit.
Yeah, that was gross. I remember that.
Just not a good time.
What was it? It's interesting though because when I was thinking about the Batman before they were casting, they were like, who would make a good Penguin? I was like, oh, Danny DeVito, like forgetting that he played him already. And I asked Mom, I was like, Mom, Danny DeVito was the Penguin, right? And she's like, yeah. I was like,
Billy D. Williams was Harvey Dent in those movies,
interesting,
and there were plans to make him Two Face.
but they didn't.
They didn't. They got Tommy Lee Jones for some reason. I don't know. Like, though, there's a very clear divide between the Burton movies and the Schumacher movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Schumacher movies, I feel, they're very ridiculous, but they know exactly what they are. Like they're toy commercials. Joel Schumacher has said that they're toy commercials.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like obviously, I used to hate them because I was like Batman should be dark and edgy all the time, but like it's a different Batman for a different time. Like it's if you go back and watch them, they're kind of fun. Like they're very they're very ridiculous.
I agree with that.
But also, George Clooney is the only Batman, the only live action Batman who hasn't killed anyone.
Really, Val Kilmer has?
Yeah. If you watch Mr. Sunday Movies on YouTube, he does a great Batman kill count video where he just racks up every time Batman's killed someone in a movie. And he made a separate one just for Ben Affleck.
That's really funny.
So, um, yeah, and then there's the Nolan movies, which obviously fantastic.
Eh,
What?
I didn't like Batman Begins. I felt
I
it
do.
wasn't that great.
I really like Batman Begins.
Um, my only complaint about The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, first of all, Dark Knight's amazing. I will say that. I didn't see it. That was the last one I saw. I saw it in such a random order. I saw Dark Knight Rises first, then I saw Batman Begins, and then I saw The Dark Knight.
What is wrong with you?
Well, okay, so I was part of this like club, and we were having like a special screening of um, The Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I saw that. And I was like too young. Like I was too young to go see The Dark Knight when it came out, and Batman Begins because I was like under 13. But so then Batman Begins was on Netflix, and that's when I watched that, and then I DVR'd Dark Knight.
Interesting.
But I feel Dark Knight Rises. My only complaint really with that, because I don't really remember it. There's the combat choreography is so wooden, and you look at movies that were coming out around the same time that had just much better fighting, like Avengers. Avengers came out the same year, and the fighting was like so good.
Yeah, but I mean, they're very different movies.
Oh, I agree. I was just saying for like the choreography of like combat, like I don't know. I just felt it was very stiff. Like Batman and Bane were both very stiff and wooden when they fought. And I'm like, they really like I felt peak combat was Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I mean, well, we can talk about that, but I've explained my problems with that fight scene.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
But yeah, no, I think like the Dark Knight choreography, obviously it is a little stiff, but like it's there's an assumption that like these movies are kind of the real world,
yeah.
and like
That's
it
fair.
doesn't really fit if like you have him doing crazy like flips and shit, like doing the like Arkham combat, like it doesn't really
Mhm.
work.
That's fair.
And I don't know. I think the Bane fight, where he breaks his back, is really solid. Like because it reminds me of the Luke and Vader fight from Empire, where he's just Batman's on the back foot the entire time.
Okay,
Like he's trying to throw all this shit at Bane, and Bane's just like literally none of this will work.
okay, that's fair.
And yeah, I think Nolan did a good job of like creating kind of like really interesting versions of the villains too. Like I like his Scarecrow appears in all three movies. I really like
Does he?
Killian. Yeah, he's he's like the one of the main villains in Begins.
That I remember.
He's in the beginning of Rise or The Dark Knight. He's like selling. I think he's selling gas to someone, and like the Batman copycats come
Oh,
in, and he's the judge in The Dark Knight Rises.
interesting. How he got. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
And like I think it, Nolan probably would have wanted Joker in that role for The
Oh,
Dark Knight
100%.
Rises,
Yeah.
but I mean it's cool that like you have this recurring character, like this recurring villain in all three,
Yeah, I
because
think that's dope.
that feels like Batman. The idea that like his villains are still out doing stuff, like it gives you it's great world building for these characters. Um, yeah, obviously, I mean, what else can we really say about the Joker? He's, I mean, he's exceptional. Um, I really like Bane. I
Tom Hardy,
wish,
good job.
yeah, I wish we would get a more comic booky Bane at some point. Like maybe in another set of Pattinson movies, give us like a proper like venomed out Bane.
Who would you want to play him?
I want just get like some big bodybuilder for the body, but get Javier Bardem to do the voice. Like just because obviously Bane is somewhere I don't know where. I think it's a fictional country in South America, but like Bane's not white.
Porto Maltese?
No,
I know what you're talking about. It's an island, right?
I know the prison is
San-
like
Santa Prisca.
Santa Prisca. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
It's in Young Justice a lot. I was like,
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah. I would like to see that version of Bane, like the one who's like an intellectual match for Batman and physically stronger.
Right, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really like that. I like that version of Ra's al Ghul too, Liam Neeson.
I think he was an interesting casting choice.
Yeah, definitely. um, I think is Ken Watanabe is like the fake Ra's al Ghul in the beginning,
I
which is kind
couldn't
of
tell
cool.
you.
Um, yeah, and then there's BVS.
BVS.
Uh, I've talked this movie to death about
Yes, if you
why.
want to know our opinions, go watch episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yeah,
Shameless
just
plug.
just a deeply upsetting misunderstanding of who Batman is as a character. Um, I don't think the fight scenes make up for anything. I think they just prove my point more than anything.
That's fair. I still enjoy watching those fight scenes. I'd also like to
Yeah.
mention to our viewers.
I don't know. I don't really enjoy seeing Batman splatter someone's brains against the wall.
That's fair. See, like I said in that video too, I've never noticed like the blood splat, so
Yeah.
I just thought he was knocking people out.
And let my phone ring out. I'll cut this out.
Ding a ding ding. Andrew, you're not picking up. I'm trying to call you.
The world is crumbling around me.
It's staying in the video version just for that bit.
Yeah. So that's it really for movies. Obviously very excited to see where Matt Reeves takes it. I'm hoping. I'm getting the sense that he's gonna strike the balance between like a gritty real world Batman, but also that kind of cool comic book idea where you just have a bunch of villains.
Right.
This is an early stages Batman, which I never mind seeing. I prefer a young Batman to a like Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Which I don't know. I mean, casting a 45-year-old man at the beginning of your franchise as one of your main players, maybe not the greatest move, Zack Snyder.
That's fair. Very fair.
And I'm interested to read like the Ben Affleck script at some point if that's ever released, but
I feel like his movie would have been pretty good too.
yeah, because like the direction it was going, it was like he's locked in Arkham Asylum. You get like more of Jared Leto's Joker, which I'm not crazy about, but and Deathstroke was gonna be like the main villain.
Don't remind me that he was going to be in it. I'm like heartbroken that probably will never be seen again.
I mean, I wouldn't. They could always just use him in a Batman sequel.
Only if it's Joe.
Yeah, sure.
Only if it's Joe. It's not that. Deathstroke is not what I'm missing. I miss Joe Manganiello.
Anyway,
We got a decent Deathstroke Titan.
yeah, there was that cool like 30-second teaser promo, and that's like all I've really seen of him. But he looks really cool.
You haven't watched season 2 yet?
No,
Dude.
I don't know.
It's decent.
Maybe I'll give it a look soon.
I mean, you got the time. Don't we all at this point?
Everything hurts. Let's talk. We can talk a little briefly about animation. I mean, we went pretty in depth last week, but
There's too much. What is it? We had Batman Ninja, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Every DC AMU movie for Batman. There's like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
Batman is just like as much as I love him, he's their cash cow.
Yeah, and I mean, fair enough. He's the strongest character of them all.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
But at the same time, I feel like sometimes it's oversaturating.
Yeah.
That I used that correctly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you disagree with me in saying that the animated series is the definitive version of the Batman mythology?
I haven't seen. I've seen like 1 episode or 2 because my cousins like it.
All right.
I mean, if it helps, I've seen that version of Batman in both Justice League cartoons. Oh, he's leaving. Andrew has left. You can't see it because the camera's on me right now, but he just did a full circle around his chair. And he just put his headphones back on. He's very disappointed in me. He's very upset.
What are your thoughts on Batman Beyond?
Amazing. Well, I don't know if you heard me saying it, but I've seen that version of Batman in the Justice League cartoons, and I felt it was great. I thought that was like the epitome of Batman.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
Batman Beyond is like one of my favorites of all
yeah.
time.
Yeah. I kind of grew up with Batman Beyond. Um, it's one of the like new interpretations of Batman that actually stuck and people seem to really enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, he had a really cool like set of all new villains, which I really liked.
Yeah, yeah. I like that they were different. They weren't just like revamped versions.
Yeah, I like that it's like an expansion of the animated series, like it's that future.
Hmm.
Like I like seeing how that Gotham developed.
Right.
Um,
I
and
love
like
Will Friedle.
yeah, Terry McGinnis, who's a really cool character. I think like one like sometime soon, if they wanted to do that live action, you can set it in like the Burton universe. Bring back Michael Keaton.
I can see that. I
Like
can.
make him the old Bruce Wayne. So for those who don't know, Batman Beyond, it's set in the far future from Gotham City. Bruce Wayne has given up being Batman because
Old.
he's like 90. And this kid Terry McGinnis kind of takes over, and they form a partnership. So Bruce is kind of like the Alfred,
Yeah, cause damn.
except a lot meaner. Um,
Yeah. Wait, have you seen the Justice League animated series episode about that?
yes, I have. I have.
Isn't that wild what he did?
Yeah, which I don't really love that expansion of it.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled with it either. So what I'm talking about is that Bruce like inseminated his Terry's mother. So Terry is technically his son
Yeah,
by blood.
which yeah, I don't love that. I think I don't like the idea that he's destined to be Batman. I think I just like the idea that it's a pure coincidence that this guy stumbled upon all the Batman shit.
Yeah, I agree. I also thought it was interesting because the cartoon was made before Damian Wayne existed,
Yeah,
and then in the comic, in the newer comic, they finally answered the question. Like, he has Terry. What about Damian? Where was he? And he is Ra's al Ghul.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty much in every future where something happens. If he doesn't become Batman, he becomes the new Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
It's literally in every single thing.
or like he does something really terrible to keep being Batman.
Yeah.
Like he makes himself immortal or whatever. Which we can, I don't know. We can talk about Damien in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, well, I have a list of like some prominent voice actors for Batman. Obviously Kevin Conroy,
100% top.
excellent. He's not my personal favorite, but I would say he probably is the best.
Mhm.
Bruce Greenwood, he's in Under the Red Hood and Young Justice.
They're the same.
Yeah,
I knew I heard him. I
yeah,
knew I heard him in Young Justice. I knew it. I
yeah,
was like, he's been in something else too.
yeah. I really like his Batman voice. I think he kind of nails like the raspiness, but not. It's not as bad as Jason O'Mara's. Like Jason, I don't like Jason O'Mara's at
Don't
all.
talk about my boy like that.
I don't know. I think he's just too weird and raspy and almost high pitched in a weird way.
Mm.
I don't know. It just sounds off to me.
You know who's is weird? Whoever voices Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Oh, I had written here Diedrich Bader. I love his
I like it too, but I
because
like
it.
his less than Jason O'Mara.
But I think Diedrich Bader's works perfectly for that world.
Oh, I agree.
It's that like that golden age Batman.
Yeah, what was it? He
That
played him in. I think he also does in the Harley Quinn show. I think he plays Batman.
yes, which is
Which I think
that's
is
cool.
funny because Batman the Brave and the Bold is very cartoony and very kid oriented. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn is very, very adult.
Yeah,
So I think it's interesting that he's done both of those.
yeah. Um, Peter Weller we talked about before. RoboCop, really great. Batman voice. Like he kind of nails that older Bruce Wayne for The Dark Knight Returns.
Okay, I was checking. I know we talked about it, but which one
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah, like whenever I reread The Dark Knight Returns, I hear his voice.
I love doing that. I love like assigning them their voice actor.
Yeah. Now we get to my personal favorite, which is Jeremy Sisto from Justice League: The New Frontier. I think like he has like this really cool, like soft but really creepy Batman voice. I don't know. I like he kind of nails it for me. Like obviously Kevin Conroy has the epic superhero Batman voice, but like I don't know. There's this cool edge to Jeremy Sisto's, which I obviously I said this last week, but Justice League: The New Frontier is one of the best animated movies DC's put out.
I have to watch it.
Yeah. Will Arnett from the Lego Batman, excellent,
Surprisingly great.
really great. I love Lego Batman movie.
I love. Did you see the Jimmy Kimmel skit?
No.
So it's Affleck and Cavill, and they're like arguing, and then I think Kimmel somehow is there, and then Will Arnett comes up and he like says he's like I'm the Batman, and then he's got the little Lego figure. He's like, "Come on, we deserve better," something like that, and then he leaves with the figure.
Jimmy Kimmel voiced Batman in the Teen Titans movie, the Teen Titans Go movie.
That's awesome.
I think Nicolas Cage was Superman, which is really cool.
That is cool, considering that he was almost Superman.
Yeah. We can do a Superman episode one of these days.
Yeah.
I love Superman. And finally, Roger Craig Smith from Arkham Origins, which I don't love it just because he's doing a Kevin Conroy impression, because he's supposed to be like a younger version of the Kevin Conroy Batman.
Okay.
It's I don't know. He doesn't have. He sounds like he's trying too hard.
Okay.
There's something just a little off about it. Listen to a couple bits from the game later.
I've been thinking about watching like cutscenes of it.
Yeah. I'm excited for a sequel to that game though, because that's what WB Montreal has been working on for 20 years now, and won't tell us anything about.
You okay over there?
How are we doing on time? Just over an hour. Okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about Elseworlds. Different.
Thomas Wayne.
Yes, yeah, that's the first one I have written here. Really cool version of Batman, who's basically the Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him in the Flashpoint animated movie. Obviously, he's great in the Flashpoint comic. I'd like to see, if they were to ever adapt Flashpoint in live action, I'd love to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan come back and do that, because he was Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I would love that. I'd really like that.
Assuming they continue that continuity.
Yeah, if the Batman is somehow in that.
Which they haven't outright said that it's not.
I know, and that's why I'm so confused. Because
But also, I don't care if it is or isn't. Like, as long as I get a good Batman movie, I don't care if it's connected to anything.
I agree. I mean, if anything, not to get into it, but like if they do Flashpoint, that's when he should be.
Or you could have the Batman take place after Flashpoint, and just it's like a step before.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Injustice Batman.
Injustice Batman. Yeah, he's basically just Batman.
True, but then there's another Batman that comes in. It's Jason Todd.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
But he doesn't like take over for him. He's just like impersonating him.
One of my personal favorites from Earth 3, Owlman.
Ah, yes.
Which we didn't talk about Crisis on Two Earths last week.
Oh,
but
I don't think I've seen it.
It's really cool because it's just Justice League versus the Crime Syndicate.
Okay.
And I would love to see that in live action. With Owlman as like just a crazy piece of shit. Like his whole goal is like he's a nihilist, so like because of the infinite universes in DC, he's like, no choice ever matters. So like if I do one thing, there's just an alternate universe where I do the opposite thing. So nothing really matters. And so he's like, the one thing I can do that matters is destroy all the universes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a really, and it's James Woods does the voice,
Oh gosh, James.
and it's really cool. He's just like a pure sociopath.
He played someone. Oh, he played Lex Luthor in the Justice League action. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That kind of works. Um, Red Sun.
Yeah, I love him with his little hat.
They just wanted to put Batman in the little Ushanka, which I of course, but that's not Bruce Wayne.
Fair.
Like that's just some lunatic.
Not gonna lie, wasn't sure. I haven't seen it. I kind of want to watch the movie.
I've been meaning to read the comic for the longest time. I feel like I'd prefer the comic, but anyway.
Batman?
Which one?
DC's?
Oh, that's Marvel Zombies, but DC, right?
Yes, and it's Batman for a little bit.
I've heard it's pretty good.
I've watched the comic story and episodes of it. Pretty good.
Yeah, I might pick up a few issues and read it soon.
But it's originally Bruce Wayne, then Damian Wayne gets it. It's not really an Elseworld, like. So it's funny though, because he's just like a tiny Batman. Because he's still like 15.
One that I really enjoy is Batman versus the Predator.
Interesting.
It's a really cool story. Like basically the Predator comes to Earth and he's like, I don't know if he's coming to hunt Batman or just Bruce Wayne or whatever, but like Batman gets the shit kicked out of him because he's fighting the Predator.
Right.
So he builds this crazy, one of my favorite mechanized bat suits. Like I think one of the coolest looking ones. And he gets a baseball bat and just beats the shit out of the Predator.
That's awesome.
And like it ends with like a bunch of other Predators like coming down to Earth, and they're like, you were beaten in combat, so you have to commit like ritual suicide, and then they give Batman the sword as like a trophy.
That's crazy.
It's insane and it's so good. Like it's an exceptional story. Like usually those like versus Predator stories don't always hit. Batman versus Predator hits the mark.
Interesting.
There's Gotham by Gaslight, which is Victorian Batman, which is really cool. I've read bits and pieces, but I just think the concept of it is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's very. Doesn't he like hunt Jack the Ripper or something?
Yeah, he does. Which that's fun.
I have like a bunch, but they all consist in the same thing.
Yeah, rattle them off.
Basically, every Batman from the Dark Multiverse that they introduce.
Oh, the Dark Knight's Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Batman who laughs.
Batman Who Laughs. What was that one? Red Death. Is it Batman Doomsday, Batman Cyborg, Batman? Interesting, they didn't do one with him in Superman. I just realized that. They did literally like every Justice League member from the main 7 except for him. Well, I guess you could say Doomsday.
Yeah, Kryptonian.
But I still think that's kind of wild.
Let's talk about the weird stuff.
Lego Batman.
So, I love Lego Batman. Don't you dare.
Oh, so do I. It's still bizarre.
Yeah. All-Star Batman, which is the other one of the other stories written by Frank Miller.
I feel like I should know. I feel
Oh
like I know
man.
what it is.
So this is like Batman, but he's a complete lunatic.
Oh, wait, I've got one more Elseworld.
Um, what were you gonna say?
I got one more Elseworld.
Yeah.
The White Knight.
Oh, that's Joker.
Yeah, Joker
Joke.
like becomes sane,
Yeah.
and in it, like Batman has just kind of like lost it, a little bit, and like was it Dick and Barbara go and help with the Gotham PD? They have every single Batmobile. They like steal it from Batman, give it to the police department. He's like, no, whatever whatever name I forget what the Joker goes by. But he's like, he's still the Joker, and like you guys are all falling for it, and he looks insane in it, and like they throw him in Arkham. It gets crazy.
But anyway, All-Star Batman. So this is the origin of the line where he says to Robin, "Are you retarded or something? Who the hell do you think I am? I'm the goddamn Batman."
You can't see it, but my jaw dropped.
This is this is Frank Miller at his absolute craziest.
Just to clarify, we were quoting that.
I am not. Yes, that was a quote. It's Frank Miller at his absolute worst. It's just him being like, what absolute nonsense can I get Jim Lee to draw? And like, oh, there's like all the other Justice League are like they don't want to deal with Batman because he's just insane. There's a bit where like he like breaks into Green Lantern's room and he's painted himself yellow.
Oh, because the weakness is yellow at that point.
It's insane.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is some bottom tier Frank Miller. There's a more recent one, Commissioner Gordon as Batman.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was wild. He looked like a bunny.
Yeah, Jim Gordon shaved his mustache and got a mohawk. I mean, I haven't read it, but I think the look of that is kind of cool.
What, the robot bunny?
Yeah.
It was very interesting. It just didn't remind me of Bat. It literally reminded me of Robot Bunny.
Yeah. I think like the suit he has on underneath the robot suit is kind of cool too, like the black and yellow. Yeah, it's cool. It doesn't have a cape, which I'm not in favor of, but
Oh wow, that's a dope suit he's got.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I like that a lot. I've definitely seen it before. I just didn't realize it was him.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of like to push the robot suit more than anything.
Yeah, which is a shame because the other regular suit's so much nicer.
Yeah, yeah. There's my boy Azrael.
Oh, John Paul Valley, right?
Yeah, who's 90s extreme Batman.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Flamethrower on the wrist.
During the Nightfall storyline where Batman had his back broken, a guy named Jean Paul Valley took over as Batman, but he's like been conditioned by like this weird secret society, and he basically becomes an extreme version of Batman.
Yeah, it doesn't go well.
It's very weird. That was like kind of that post Death of Superman era where they were like, how extreme can we make everything?
Right, yeah.
And I remember one of the original plans was they could either like break Batman's back and go through a bunch of Batman, or they were considering like taking the ears off the Batsuit and just calling him the Caped Crusader.
That'd be interesting.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, I mean, like, the same way you have, like, U.S. agent for Captain America. Like, if you had, like...
No, but this was Batman doing it.
Oh, never mind. Well, I guess you could change it to, like... not change. You can like compare it to when Cap went to Nomad.
But like, people don't like when people think of Captain America, they don't think of Nomad.
That's also true.
uh, um, there's that time Batman was just a vampire, like for real. Batman Dracula Red Rain. Yeah, he like decapitates Alfred.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Some weird shit. But apparently, I haven't read it, but apparently it's a really good story. So I'm interested to read. But um, and to top it all off, we have, of course, the 1970s hairy-chested love god Batman,
Oh god.
which is anytime he fought Ra's al Ghul, he would like take his shirt and cape off, but leave the mask on, and like he had just a big, broad, hairy chest. Listeners, please look it up. It's something to behold. He looks like Fabio. Like,
Maybe I could put a graphic of it in.
please do. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see it on screen. That the hairy chested love god Batman, that was dubbed by Grant Morrison. Excellent Batman writer. So out of everything we've talked about today, what is your personal favorite take on Batman?
Personal favorite?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, Young Justice.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind the Bruce Greenwood voice, if anything.
He's just so good, and he's also like a jerk. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen? Are you like caught up on it?
No.
Okay, then I won't spoil it for you. But season 3 is like he's very Batman.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be the DC AU Batman from the animated series in Justice League. I think it's just like the perfect version of that
Conroy?
character. Yeah, Conroy. He just nails every aspect of the character. The animated series does a lot of really interesting stuff, like kind of taking apart who Batman is as a person, especially in like Mask of the Phantasm, which is still the best Batman movie. But yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like one other Batman cartoon, but it's Beware the Batman.
I never. That's like the CG animated one, right?
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but I think it
Yeah.
just didn't get a. I think people were, I think people were mad because they canceled Green Lantern and Young Justice and replaced it with that in Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
So I think people were mad about that, but I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that animation style, but from what I understand, they did a lot of like lower tier villains, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah, they did Professor Pig.
Yeah, and like Anarchy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
I don't know if it was the same type of CG that they used for Green Lantern, but that would have been cool if they like crossed over.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So if we're done with the Batman, Jonathan, where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at Occasional Bugle.
Yes, sir.
You guys can also find us on YouTube now.
Yes,
Watch
finally.
us talk. Except for the first couple episodes because we never did video recordings for 1 through I'm gonna say 8, 7.
Yeah.
So those are just gonna be pictures. But YouTube is just more accessible for some people. So
yeah,
we're on YouTube now, guys.
We're working on getting those out.
Yes, there are 2 episodes as of this recording. There are 2 episodes out. Episode 3 should be up by tomorrow, like 2 days, and then 4, 5, 7 next week.
Excellent. Anyway, until next time.
Wait, where can they find you?
Oh, well, if you feel like talking to me for some reason, you can find me at Big Goat on Campus on Twitter. And that's about it.
Right. Thank you guys for listening.
Of course. Always appreciate it. Adios.